Hey everybody, and welcome to the Book Refuge, and welcome to one of my favorite videos to make, a book haul. So this little book haul has about 40 books in it, so we won't waste any time. But just before we go, I make new videos every Monday and Thursday for the time being, with an extra one thrown in there as I have time for it. You can see more of my videos by subscribing to me or checking me out on Instagram and Twitter, which are all linked down below. I am so excited for the books I'm hauling today. I found a few that I've been looking for a long time, as well as some sequels to some books I was really excited about. And also there's some books that I've already read and talked about, but it's been a while since I've done a haul because, mercy of mercies, I actually didn't buy as many books in July as I have in previous month. It's just that I've waited longer to do a haul this time, so there's still 40 books to get through. So let's go for it. First off, I want to start with like sequels and like next ones in the series that I picked up, just to kind of get those out of the way. So first I have books 10 and 11, or no, 11 and 12, no, 10 and 11 in the Wheel of Time series. I picked those up. I had a coupon, so I'm just continuing to add to these. I'm only on book 4, but I already know that I'm going to read the whole series, so whenever I have a good coupon at Barnes & Noble, I pick these up. They're already only $10, but when you get a coupon and you can get them for like $6, that's really fun. So I picked up those. Next, I had 2 new historical romance novels come out by 2 of my favorite authors. First up, we have Someone to Honor by Mary Below. This is, I think, the 6th book in the Westcott novel. This is a really fun series about this family that their dad was married to someone else when he married their mother, and so all of his quote-unquote legitimate children are actually bastards, and his illegitimate child is actually the heir to all of his money. And it's over the years the different troubles and struggles that this family has come to, because they are all bastards and they thought that they were legitimate. And it's a really interesting series. This is about one of the younger sisters. Next, I have Say No to the Duke. This is the 4th book in the Wilds of Windlow Castle. This one is about Lady Betsy and Jeremy Roden. I've really liked this series. It's been up and down for my sister. She doesn't like it too much, but I love Eloisa James. I recently found out that there was a few of her books I hadn't read yet, and I was so happy because there was some left for me to read. So really excited to pick this one up when I have time. Next, I have 3 sequels here. I have Immunity, which is the sequel to Contagion by Erin Bowman. I loved Contagion last year. I only got this a couple weeks ago, but I'm kind of bummed I haven't read it yet. I want to get to this as soon as I can. I think I'm saving it for the Harry Potter Hogwarts battles next month, just because it'll be fun to read it for a challenge, and it like fits into some of those. But this series, the first one was about this group of like 8 individuals on a space team, on a research team, who they were evacuating their planet, and then they got called by a distress signal to this other planet to help people, and when they get there, everyone is dead. And but undead, if you get what I mean, and they have to try to escape. So it was like space horror, and it was really good. I wasn't expecting it to be horror, but Jay Kristoff had really been talking about it, and that's why I read that book, because I was all Jay Kristoff. I'm still all, yay, Jay Kristoff. And I really loved it. So I'm really excited to read Immunity. This cover is beautiful, and I can't wait. Next was Deviate. I've already read and reviewed this book. I didn't like it as much as Lifelike, but again, yay, Jay Kristoff, and I still thought it was great, and it's a good setup for the final book. So I wasn't bored while I was reading it. It just wasn't everything that I wanted, but I really liked it. This cover is gorgeous. Super excited. And then I just picked up today, let me get the Barnes & Noble sticker off of it. Hate that they put stickers on stuff. I picked up Dark Age by Pierce Brown. Look at this behemoth. I haven't read Iron Gold yet. That came out before I started this channel even. That's how long it's been since the next one has come out. But, oh, look at this map. It's so beautiful. I just didn't want to read Iron Gold until Dark Age or the next one was out, just because Pierce Brown does really mean cliffhangers. And everyone was mad after Iron Gold, and so I was like, I'm just gonna wait. But look at this beauty. It's gorgeous, and, I'll try to get into Iron Gold sometime soon. Can't promise when, especially when these books are... This one is 750 pages. Holy shnikes. So I don't know when we'll get to that. Because I'm wanting to read this series, I just went ahead and bought all of them. I found some of them at a thrift store, and some of them I already had, but I bought almost all the rest of the Longmire series. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know that I didn't love The Cold Dish, but I have actually read The Dark Horse before, and I really liked that one. And all of these ones are smaller than The Cold Dish was, and for me that's what my main problem with The Cold Dish was, is that it was too long and there was too much extra things going on that I didn't want. So I bought the rest of the Longmire series, and I will hopefully get to this in the coming months. I'll just take my time. Mystery isn't my favorite genre, but I love Walt, so we'll get to it when we can. Next, I have The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is Murphy's Patreon read for August, so I'll be starting this book soon. I don't know anything about this series at all. I don't need to. I really like that with the books we read in book club, because it's more fun to talk about in that way. This is the Broken Earth trilogy, and I've heard lots of good things, and I'm excited to give it a go. Next, I still haven't read this series yet, but I decided to pick up The Queens of Fenburn because I have the first 2 books in the series, and I want to get to that series. The 4th one comes out in just a couple weeks, I think. I've heard ups and downs about this series, but it seems really interesting, and this is a little novella that goes with it, and it matches, and I wanted to get it, so don't. Next, I picked up Beware the Night by Jessica Fleck. Don't know anything about this. I know there is a sun god that these people try to keep happy to protect them from the night, where the night is an evil group that wants to terrorize and snatch innocent people and take them away. It looked super cool. There's no other reason. I picked up Eve of Man by Giovanna and Tom Fletcher. This one is super interesting to me. This one is about, there is only, she's the first girl to be born in 50 years, and so they named her Eve. And it is very important who she will marry and have kids with, because they're hoping, they need more people to be born. And I don't know, it just seemed really cool. So, it's kind of like an arranged marriage situation, because she's not free to pick who she'd marry, but at the same time, it's for the survival of humanity. So I just am interested in that, because, whenever you see arranged marriage, well, sometimes that's good in certain kind of romances, but if it's a forced arranged marriage, that, you always root for the person to get free of that. But if it's to help society survive, what does it mean? I find that a really interesting conundrum to read about, and it's really pretty, and I'm excited to give this one a go. Next, I have a book that was sent to me by a publicity team. I started a little bit of this. I really need to dive more into it. It's called Jake's Redemption by Jamie Schultz. This is a self-published novel sent to me by her team, who there's an agent who's helping these independent authors do it. This is part of the Angel Eyes series, and this is a prequel. So this is in a world where men are treated really horribly, and they're actually treated as slaves. And Jake ends up being owned by, he gets loaned out to this woman named Monica who needs some work done on her ranch, and the two of them fall in love, but there's the whole thing of like, this is a master-slave situation, and can you really love someone who is holding you captive, or, you know, whatever. So it seems really interesting. I've only read a little bit of it. It's already really, like, hard to read because it is like a really abusive situation that this man is in. But I'm interested to give it a try and get a review in for this author. Next, I picked up Mr. and Mrs. Fitzwilliam Darcy by Sharon Lathan. So funny story, I actually had a book in this. So this is a whole series that is Pride and Prejudice continued. And there is actually a bunch of books in this series, and I actually used to have one of them, but it was like the 4th book, and so I didn't really get what was going on. But I thought this would be cool. Pride and Prejudice is one of my favorite books ever, and I thought this might be fun to see what this author thinks happens next. And then here, we'll do this one first. Sorry. I also picked up the next book in the Last Man graphic novel series. This is the collection number 2. This was about a man who one day at one certain time, all men on earth perish except for this man and his monkey. And it's just all about what's happening to him. So the first one had a really big cliffhanger, and so I bought the next one. Then these 2 books are really special to me. They're so cool. So the Poldark series is one of my favorite book series I've ever read. I absolutely adored it. I love the TV series as well. And Macmillan did these special edition covers of the 1st and 2nd book. And they're these like mini ones, and they have gold paint sprayed edges, and it's on like these Bible pages, and I'm just so in love with them. They're so beautiful. I wish they would do the entire series in these because I just want them. They're perfect. So these mean a lot to me. They're so beautiful. I have Fixer Up. I think I already talked about this. I put it in a vlog. I read this book as an e-arc, and I absolutely loved it. And I got this as a gift. I did a book exchange through Instagram, and this was the one that I asked for. It's really cute. It's about this girl named Georgie and this guy named Travis, and they fall in love. And that's all I have time to say. I need to get moving. All right. Next, I have a stack of books. I got all of these when I was home for the 4th of July. Me and my mom went to a couple of bookstores, and when I went to camp in Alexandria, I picked up a couple. So these are the books that I got. So the first one is my first ever manga. I have read graphic novels, but I've never read a manga. And I thought this would be a cool one to start seeing how I do with the format, because it is Pride and Prejudice, which as I've just said is one of my favorite books. This is a manga of Pride and Prejudice. And it's so cool, but I want to see how I do with the format because it seems a little weird to me, but a lot of friends who've read mangas say it's great. So of course I'm willing to give it a go, but I thought this would be a fun one to start with. Next, I finally got my hands on The Diviners by Libba Bray. I've been wanting to read this series for so long. I'm so excited for it. I know this is set, I think, it's in New York City in the Roaring 20s. And I know there's like magical powers and there's a serial killer, and I'm super excited about it. I loved Libba Bray's A Great and Terrible Beauty trilogy, and I've always wanted to read something else by her, and a lot of people rave about this series. And I finally found this. I found this at a thrift bookstore, and I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Next, I picked up To Kill a Mockingbird. It was there, and I just thought it'd be cool. This is the Great American Read by PBS, as well as, one of the best books of all time, people say. And I've never seen the full movie or read the book. So here we go, trying to culturally educate myself. Next, I picked up a middle grade, which is very odd for me. It's very different for me, but it is called The Storm Runner by J.C. Cervantes, and I just thought it was so beautiful. And it takes place, I thought it took place in Hawaii, but maybe I'm making it up. But it's about a boy named Zane, and there's a mysterious girl named Brooks who shows up at his doorstep, and they explore volcanoes, and there's magic and monsters, and I don't know. It just seemed cool, and I wanted to give it a try, even though it was middle grade, and that's not my favorite thing. I thought it was just so beautiful, and I was like, well, even if this isn't great, it's gorgeous, so let's go. I picked up The Huntress by Kate Quinn. This just seemed really cool. It's a historical mystery. Nina Markova is, she's hunting a Nazi murderess called the Huntress, and she meets up with a war correspondent named Ian Graham, and it just seemed cool. I don't always want to read historical, but I thought that could be fun. Next, I got The Chosen by Taran Mathu. This came in, which box was this in? Oh, this was in my unplugged book box. This seems really cool. I read the first of the Summoner series, and I really liked it. I just never continued because I don't know why, but this one is about, there's a group of people that just disappear with no explanation, and there's a group of teenagers who are trying to find out why. Looks cool. Let's go. Then I picked up The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. This was another one I got traveling with my family. It was just there, and I was like, hey, time to give this one a try. I've heard interesting things about this story. Some people loved it, some people didn't, but we'll give it a go. All right. I picked up Wilder Girls by Rory Power. This is the Barnes & Noble Book Club this week, or this month. But yeah, it's about this school for girls that they're under quarantine, and they have to deal with themselves and what's going on during that time. I think it's like a school on an island or something. Picked up Call It What You Want by Bridget Kemmerer. I will buy every book that she writes. I still need to read this one and one of her other ones, but I'm excited for this one to come out. A Curse So Dark and Lonely was one of my favorite books from this year. This is about Rob and Megan. Her books are always really hard-hitting, and I enjoy that. I think this is part of kind of the same series as Letters to the Lost. Like, it takes place in the same world, but we'll see. I'm not 100% about it. I picked up The Girl in Red by Christina Henry. This is a post-apocalyptic Red Riding Hood. Boom. I got The Beckoning Shadow in my Beacon book box. This is apparently a time-traveling novel by Catherine Blair. Yeah, she's an MMA fighter. Seems cool. I picked up The Last Word by Samantha Hastings. This book was short. It's set in 1861, and it's about Miss Lucinda Leavitt. And I think it is that her favorite, her favorite author died before finishing his favorite series. And so she gets in contact with the young businessman who's like his successor and wants to finish the story for the readers. I thought that was cool. Just My Luck by Jennifer Honeyborn. This is about this girl who she cleans rich people's houses, and she is kind of a pickpocket and like thief, and she's like stolen a little bit from each of them, and she has bad luck. And so her goal is, she thinks if she returns all the items that she's stolen, that she'll get her luck back. Just My Luck, I feel, was like the name of a Lindsay Lohan and Chris Pine movie that I really liked when I was a kid, and it looked cool. Then I picked up The Wildlands by Paul Grecki. This is a survival story of some people stuck in Alaska. Or is there fires? Yeah. whatever. It looks cool. All right, last group of books. These are a few I just picked up today. I picked up some books by Joe Abercrombie. So I picked up the first 2 books in, I don't know what it's called, but it's Half a King and Half a World. This is about a guy named Prince Yarvi, who he's been displaced from his throne, and he needs to try to get it back. And then I picked up The Blade Itself, which is the first book in the First Law trilogy, which I've heard a lot of great things about. Don't know what it's about, but we're going with it. And finally, I picked up The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen because beautiful. Boom. Okay. These are the 40 plus books that I bought in the last month. Yeah. I just always I'm laughing at myself because a year from now, when I'm having to do my You Choose My TBR from these books, I just think how many books there'll be to choose from. But what can you do? Thank you so much for watching. I make new videos every Monday and Thursday, and you can see some more of those videos right now.